Conditions continue to be challenging for the rescue teams.
The number of dead following devastating flash floods in Texas has now risen to at least 70, including 21 children. A number of other people are missing, including 11 girls who were attending a summer camp on the banks of a river. The state's governor, Greg Abbott, says there's a need for speed as hundreds of rescuers search for survivors. Well, the Guadalupe River burst its banks during heavy rains in an area northwest of San Antonio, close to Camp Mystic, a Christian summer retreat for girls. And there are fears of more flooding as rain continues to fall. Gary O'Donoghue has our top story from Texas.
Now into the third day of this rescue effort, and the death toll continues to rise inexorably. Emergency services and volunteers have been out by the camps ever since the floodwater hit, walking the trails looking for the missing girls.
We're helping the parents of two of the missing children. And their house collapsed about 4 in the morning, and they were being washed away. And on her cell phone, the last message they got was, "We're being washed away," and the phone went dead.
So I'm just across the river now from Camp Mystic, and you can see where the recreation hall had its whole front wall torn away. There are still some rescue workers over there sifting through the debris because there are still some of the girls missing. But as time passes, now well beyond 48 hours after the flooding, hope of finding anyone alive is significantly diminishing. Debris still scatters the huts at Camp Mystic, where the girls were staying for the Independence Day holiday weekend. And there are parents who still do not know where their children are, like Michael.
We got here and started looking, and the game warden showed up. Or we went as far as we could downstream, but we don't have the equipment for that, so we're letting them do that, and then we're looking for places that they're going to potentially be alive.
More than 800 people have already been rescued in the past days, though many did not make it. They included Jane Ragsdale, described as the heart and soul of the camp where she was the director. Julian Ryan, whose final words to his fiancée were, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. I love you all." And 8-year-old Renee, whose family said she was having the time of her life at Camp Mystic. Mystic's co-owner, Dick Eastland, from a family that spent generations running the camp, is also among the dead. Conditions continue to be challenging for the rescue teams, with more warnings about further rain and potential flooding. Local officials say they're doing everything they can.
We want to make sure that we continue to focus. We still have 11 missing children that we want to get reunited with our families. Until we can get reunited with our families, we are not going to stop until we do. So, thank you.
This tragedy is far from over, and while this devastated community continues to come to terms with its loss, it's also starting to ask questions about how it could have been caught so off guard by this torrential flood.
Yeah, Gary, you mentioned challenging conditions for those trying to find survivors. What are the hopes of pulling out anyone else alive?
Well, the hopes are pretty low, to be honest, Clive, this amount of time on from the flood. And of course, conditions are worsening. In fact, we were down by the river talking to people about an hour and a half ago, and suddenly there were a lot of police cordons, a lot of people with megaphones shouting that there was a 10-foot wall of water coming down the river, evacuating everyone up to higher ground where we are now. Now, it seems that wall of water may be hitting somewhere else, a creek a little bit further down, not that part of the river where the camps were, but you can see that these flash floods are still a big problem. We're getting constant alerts on our phones, emergency alerts about the potential for flooding. So immensely challenging environment. And still, as well as the children, the 10 children and the one camp supervisor missing, there's hundreds, possibly thousands of other people that would have been holidaying in this area. The authorities have no idea how many of those are safe or not.
And questions tonight, Gary, about flood preparedness in the area.
Yeah, and in particular about the warning systems and the forecasting. There were emergency alerts sent by the National Weather Service in the early hours of Friday morning for these floods, but no one really forecast the size of the water surge there would be. Now, there have been cuts to the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, cuts introduced by Elon Musk's Doge department at the beginning of this administration, but big pushback from the administration on this, saying that's not what it is. They say the equipment needs upgrading. This is an area that is prone to flash flooding, but no one predicted this, and there will be significant questions about why no one in these camps appeared to get the word soon enough to evacuate, given that they were right by the river.